No what?
Chicken butt.
What were you going to say?
What?
What were you going to say when you said no what? Was it really chicken butt? Oh. I thought you were going to say something else, and then I said chicken butt, and you're like, yeah. I thought you were going to say something else.
Nope, that's what I was going to say, and you said it first.
No what?
Chicken butt.
Come on. Show me your big hole.
I thought this was supposed to be family radio.
What are you going to show me?
It's a pit. How about that?
The pit? Go see the pit. Car charger. Woohoo. Ooh. Look at all, there's rubble. There's dirt everywhere. Whoa. Oh, what? Oh my God.
It's a hole in the ground where our porch used to be.
What? What is happening here? In the end of the last episode, the crew had repaired and propped up the porch roof that we are saving. They demoed the bottom half of the old porch and started digging the huge hole needed to build Jim's complicated porch design. The size of the hole kind of blew me away. I don't think the camera really captures it. How deep is it?
How deep is it? That's about 5.5, 6 feet.
6 feet under? What are you planning on?
We haven't lost anybody there yet.
What are you planning to put in this hole?
Shh! You're not supposed to talk about that. Everybody will know where the bodies are buried.
Oh, okay, I won't post this.
That's where I had to excavate to.
Oh, because you had to keep the sidewalk open. We filled in the concrete with dirt.
Yeah. Actually, the sidewalk's better with our fill in it.
You have it all marked out here.
That's a basic outline of where the slab's going to be.
What do the numbers mean?
Those are the number of inches that need to be added each of those locations to bring the dirt up to the right base level.
So the bottom of the hole, or the pit, was made level and then tamped down. There you go. Make sure you get my butt. So what is all this?
This is the pit where we're going to have our heating and air conditioning compressors. And it's going to have a concrete slab to support them. The slab is going to go from this paint line here out to the outside of the deep dug pieces that you see around the edge here. This is what is called a thickened edge monoslab. This part that I'm standing on is going to be 4 inches thick. And that 4 inches is going to continue out over this deep spot, which is going to be also filled with concrete. So it's going to have one smooth top surface, 4 inches thick here, that'll go out over here and be thickened on the edge. And then we're going to build a concrete block wall up on top of all of this thickened area that's going to come up to about 24 inches, 20 inches below the base of the porch, which will be up here. So this area between the concrete block wall and the edge over here is where we're going to put our air conditioning compressors. There'll be 2 of them down here. The coolant lines, the refrigerant lines, will come from the compressors in through the basement wall. Electricity to power them will come out through the basement wall.
How are you going to get the hole drilled into that?
We have a special drill bit for that, impact.
How big are the holes going to be?
Just the line set is about that big in diameter, and there'll be 2 of them. This will be concrete block wall all the way around. Yeah, all the way around. Foundation, front run, back to foundation. And then outside the concrete block wall will get filled in with dirt again.
And why did you make this project this way?
Well, a couple of reasons. We had originally thought to put it in the alcove back here toward the neighbor's house. But after considering the difficulty of access to get up to the 3rd floor on this side of the house, the west side, the air conditioning compressors would be in the way of us doing maintenance on this side of the house in the future. If we had to get a lift back in there, we'd have to take the compressors out, which is somewhat difficult and expensive in order to gain access. So if we put them here, we don't have that issue, and they're out of sight, so you don't see them on our nice Victorian home. They'll also be a little quieter for a neighbor. Not that they're noisy, but...
What's going to happen next?
Well,
the big holes.
Yeah, there's a big hole. The absolute next thing that's happening is that I have to repair these corners.
Whoa. Corners need repair.
Which I am just in the process of beginning to do. You see, the corners are collapsing. This is called a rubble foundation.
Rubble?
Rubble.
That doesn't sound very comforting.
Yeah, it doesn't sound very strong, does it? If this were Alaska, I would be so afraid. Fortunately, we don't have earthquakes here. But a shake and this whole thing would come apart.
I can see where there's like some grout or mortar or whatever you'd call that there, but
down here it's pretty much gone, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, this is where ground level was up to about a week ago. And a couple of years ago, I came through and repointed all this.
I remember that, yeah.
So this is sound, but what we've dug away, this is the old lime mortar. You see how I can just rub it out with my finger?
Does it deteriorate over time?
Deteriorate, well, it's 100 years old, so I guess it gets to deteriorate. It's not as strong as the same design as the mortars we make today. So this has gone away. Largely, I've washed this off and removed most of the old, completely failed mortar so I can repoint this. But when the guys were digging the trench, they came to the foundation and some of the rock came out. And I don't want them to do any more work against this foundation until I repoint and stabilize this corner.
Gotcha.
Eventually, I'm going to repoint this whole wall up to where I repointed it before. But I'm really concerned that we maintain the structural integrity of the foundation at the corners. So today I've been cleaning out old mortar along where these corners have come apart in preparation for stabilizing these. And that's the next thing I'm going to do. The rest of it can wait, but the corners obviously are...
This one's really dug in.
...need of attention.
Okay, then. So was this all from just digging the hole?
Don't get your fingers in there too far just in case something falls.
Oh, now you say that. Okay, I'm going to stand over here.
Yeah.
So I should be here while you're working on this in case the house falls on you?
No, I don't. The house is not going to fall on me. It's going to be okay. I've already cleaned this out but I don't stick my fingers back in those crevices. I stick the brush in there.
Okay, well, you're gonna have to stick stones in there eventually, right? Or
Oh yeah, I'm getting ready to mix some mortar to come down here and put that in, but that goes in with a trowel, not my finger.
oh, okay, that's good.
I did not expect to see this much failure
And this is
in the
covered,
mortar this far down. And the reason for that is that this has been under the porch and protected from water
right?
for most of the life of the house. And water getting into the mortar and freezing and thawing is one of the main things that breaks it out. We saw a lot of that along the east and west sides of the house where we dug down and I repointed it down to the frost line. Then it started looking good. And it looked good here when I repointed this down to ground level. You see, this is below ground level. So all I was seeing underground was this good mortar. And I expected this to continue down. So it's a surprise to find that this has deteriorated this badly, because this is good. That's not.
So do you think the rest of the foundation is looking like this?
Well, there's a possibility, but when we dug down again, we dug down a couple feet,
Right, when we put the gravel in for the
which is below the frost line, and came to sound mortar like this. So I expected it to be good from there down. Now I don't know.
well, I don't want to open it up and see.
No, I don't
think it's
either.
fine.
It's everything's solid on the inside. Out here, this has been supported with loose clay, packed clay, and all that. It was packed, so it's not going to shift anywhere.
Gotcha.
As long as we don't see evidence of it coming loose on the inside, we should be okay.
Well, don't get crushed
Okay, I'll
by
try.
the house. Oh, don't let the house fall on you like the Wicked Witch of the West.
All right, I'll jump out of the way if the house starts coming
God.
down.
Yeah.
Mixing up your concrete for your mortar.
Getting ready to mix up the mortar. Yeah.
Okay, is this what you're using for mortar?
Yeah, that's it.
Rapid set mortars, high strength structural repair. That sounds like perfect the thing to use.
Seems like the right branding, huh?
And then you put that in there too? Bonding
Yeah,
adhesive?
that's a bonding agent. It's an additive that will mix in with the mortar. It helps it to stick a little bit better to the old stone. I have learned something about being in Syracuse that we don't experience in Alaska, which is that even after you dry off your tools, after you've used them, here in Syracuse, they will sit quietly and rust all by themselves. That doesn't happen in Alaska, so that's something new for me.
Well, it's a bit more humid here.
Yeah,
Quite a bit more,
it's
actually.
that. I'm gonna have to wipe these down with oil after cleaning them. Extra step. Look at that.
Sweet.
Spots all over the place. Get steel wool and clean that off before I mix some mortar. We'll find some steel wool. Making it smooth. The rust has got quite a bit of pitting in it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I missed filming the first corner repair, but here's how it's looking. Pretty nice.
But I don't stick my fingers back in those crevices.
This looks rather tedious.
It is.
going to take a long time. You sure you don't want some help?
Well, there's really only room for one person to work here.
Okay.
Appreciate the offer, though.
I was getting pretty bored with my own work that I was even willing to do this. What was I thinking? Jim noticed this corner right here and decided to shore it up with his own little concrete pad. He dug out a little pit, put in some little rebar, and I got to help. Nice mixer you got. Is that a KitchenAid?
Yeah. It'd do a job on bread dough, wouldn't it? Milwaukee Whole Hog.
Whole hog.
Whole Hog. HOLEHAWG. Whole Hog. All right, now that won't hit you in the head if it catches on something.
Oh, that's now you tell me.
So just hit me in the hip instead of you in the head.
God.
I'm thinking about you.
I'm like, doo-doo.
All right, now we're going to get serious.
Gonna smooth it out.
Yeah, we're gonna do some smoothing, finishing.
Does that make it cure better or something?
No, it just makes it prettier. Well, actually, it raises the paste in the concrete a bit. And that makes a little bit better seal on the top of the concrete, but it's not critical.
That makes sense. I know this looks like there's been an unfortunate incident in my pants, but I assure you it's just dirt and butt sweat.
For this application, anyway. I mean, if we're polishing it, then it's real critical. So.
We are not polishing this.
Okay, your nose clear?
Yeah.
Okay, when you're ready.
Ready. Open another bag.
Yeah, I'm gonna open the bag and I'm gonna hand mix this the rest of the way.
Okay. You want me to clean that off?
Yeah, but I want to do it up there.
Gotcha.
Gotta call that good enough.
After what Jim estimates to be about 80 hours of hard work, he finished the foundation. Yeah, we all know he could have hired someone, but Jim is really particular about making things right, especially when it's something like a foundation. So he just did all the work himself, and it looks great. I'm so lucky.
They saying they do a bust. Yeah. Think it take me less than 3 seconds to put down to the club.
Here's the drain line. I tacked it in and up far enough so it protrude above the concrete surface once we get that placed. And I have a black magic marker line drawn around it, which is where the height of the concrete slab should be when it's finished. I want the height to be over here, to be at or below this black line so we get drainage toward it. Once that's all set, we'll just cut the tube across the top of the concrete on diagonal, and it'll be the entry to our drain. Concrete.
Oh.
Even where we have leakage out there, this is where we would bring it in, attach a line to this, and take it over to our floor line.
Nice drain hole.
Thank you. You should see it on the outside.
Too much concrete. Too much. Give me a book. Some go back away. Huh? I'm going to get out somebody. Yep. More? Huh? Yeah, man. Good, good.
Alvin, you're closing in on the finale.
Yes, Sir James.
The gaps between the block wall and the foundation were filled with dirt. And we gave the rest of the dirt to the McAllister house. Hi, Jordan.
Making progress on the new porch.
Yes, sir.
Nice new framing.
Apologies for not getting a video out sooner. We're all struggling to figure out what to do with what's happening in the world, and us too. And the porch still isn't done yet, and it is April. We haven't sold the house in Alaska yet. We decided to divide up the property. Did you guys hear that moose grunt? Let's back it up and listen again. Wow, that sounded more like a lion than a moose. So, anywho, we haven't been back to Alaska because we're dividing the property. So, we'll be traveling back there soon, and hopefully, we'll get that wrapped up so we can just make a final hard push to finish this house. Thank you for watching, and if you want to subscribe, that would be great. And as always, we appreciate you. See you in the next one. Bye.
You know what? Chicken butt.